may I please know the page number?
Canto 3, Book 2. Page number 118. Oh, 116.
100 what?
116. 116.
116. Oh, I see. Okay.
The Glory and the Fall of Life. Canto 3, Book 2.
Got it. Yes, very good. I guess we can begin.
Yeah.
A few moments concentration. So we are going with Ashwapati through the book of the Traveler of the Worlds. And in this canto, the glory and the fall of life, we're going to see what he experiences. So we will begin. An uneven, broad ascent now lured his feet. Interesting words from Sri Aurobindo. It's a broad ascent, but it's uneven. And it lured his feet. That means when we lure someone, we pull them in somehow. And then there's a full stop. So we have next, answering a greater nature's troubled call, he crossed the limits of embodied mind. There's a lot on mind that we've already covered, but for new people, I would recommend that you go to the lexicon and see these definitions of mind, because mind is a long definition. He crossed the limits of embodied mind. Embodied, of course, is something that has a form. It's not like nobody, which is lacking a form, formless or shapeless. This definitely has a form, this mind. And mind, he capitalizes the M. Very, very important. Then, and entered a wide, obscure, disputed fields. Disputed, of course, is something that questions the truth or validity of something. And we have to see where he is. We have to feel where he is. Because now he sees these fields where all was doubt and change and nothing sure. A world of search and toil without repose. Very, very interesting area that he's entered, where everything is doubt and everything is change and nothing is sure. And it is a world of search and toil without repose. I think unknowingly many of us have been there. As one who meets the face of the unknown, a questioner with none to give reply, attracted to a problem never solved, always uncertain of the ground he trod, always drawn on to an inconstant goal, he traveled through a land peopled by doubts, in shifting confines on a quaking base. Lot to cover here, quite a bit to cover. In the Upanishads, Sri Aurobindo says, the unknown is that which is beyond the known, and though unknown is not unknowable, if we can enlarge our faculties or attain to others that we do not yet possess. Ashwapati is meeting this strange fields. Everything is in doubt and change. Nothing is sure. Yet it's a world of search and toil and there's no rest. He says, without repose. Now, as one who meets the face of the unknown, and we will see in Savitri that Sri Aurobindo often uses as one or as if. He doesn't say, this is it exactly. He says, as one. So here's as one who meets the face of the unknown, and that one is a questioner with none to give reply. That questioner is attracted to a problem never solved, and he's always uncertain of the ground he trod, the ground he walked on, always drawn on to an inconstant goal. Inconstant is changing or varying, especially often, and without any real pattern or reason. He traveled through a land peopled by doubts, in shifting confines on a quaking base. Peopled, of course, here we would define it as populated by, or as if with people, but populated by doubts. Now, we have this very, very interesting last line where we have a full stop. In shifting confines on a quaking base. Well, confines are limits or areas, but these areas are always shifting. And not only are they shifting, but they're on a quaking base. Quaking is shaking or trembling from and some kind of instability. In front, he saw a boundary ever unreached and thought himself at each step nearer now, a far retreating horizon of mirage. Interesting. In front of him, he sees this unreached boundary, and he thinks that he's now nearer at every step, but it's a far retreating horizon of mirage. We all know what a mirage is. We've seen it when it's an optical phenomenon that creates the illusion of water, very often of water. And it's often inverted reflections of distant objects. Now, he continues on. A vagrancy was there that brooked no home, a journey of countless paths without a close. What is a vagrancy? Well, something that's vagrant doesn't have any permanent home. So this is a state of wandering, a state of moving from place to place. And it brooked no home. Brooked here is tolerated or put up with. So a vagrancy, a place wandering, having no permanent home, was there. That tolerated no home. A journey of countless paths without a close. Well, we continue on. Nothing he found to satisfy his heart. A tireless wandering sought and could not cease. So we are seeing that he is not pleased with this. He has found nothing there that would satisfy his heart. He seeks in a tireless wandering, and although he seeks it, that wandering could not cease. Why? Their life is the manifest incalculable. Well, manifest is obvious, patent, made plain, and incalculable is too great to be reckoned with, impossible to foresee or even unpredictable. And Sri Aurobindo uses the word as a noun here and capitalizes the I. Their life is the manifest incalculable, a movement of unquiet seas, a long and venturous leap of spirit into space. Venturous, of course, is hazardous or involving risk. Notice that he capitalizes space. Although we've done space before, I think we should look at it again. Can some of our regulars read from the lexicon the definition of space?
I can read.
Okay, good.
Space. It is possible in pure mentality to disregard the movement of event and the disposition of substance, and realize the pure movement of conscious force, which constitutes space and time. These two are then merely two aspects of the universal force of consciousness, which is in their intertwined interaction, comprehend the warp and woof of its action upon itself. And to a consciousness higher than mind, which should regard our past, present, and future in one view, containing and not contained in them, not situated at a particular moment of time for its point of prospection. Point of prospection. For its point of prospection. Time might well offer itself as an internal present. And to the same consciousness, not situated at any particular point of space, but containing all points and regions in itself. Space also might well offer itself as a subjective and indivisible extension, no less subjective than time, from the Life Divine.
So we see that both of these are subjective, and we can live in the eternal present when we rise higher than mind. And for that, we need what is termed Trikala Drishti, the vision or the experience of past, present, and future in one view, not separate, containing and not contained in them, not even situated at a moment of time for its point of prospection. Time might well offer itself as an eternal present, and then space also might offer itself as a subjective and indivisible extension, no less subjective than time. So we'll continue on. There's so much here that's so important. A vexed disturbance in the eternal calm. Well, vexed we know, irritated, annoyed, troubled, persistently, disturbed. Now, calm is also capitalized. Calm is serenity or tranquility or peace. But Sri Aurobindo writes something very interesting in a couple of his letters on yoga. Calm is a still unmoved condition which no disturbance can affect. It is a less negative condition than quiet. Most interesting. Calm is a less negative condition than quiet. And in another letter on yoga, he says calm is a positive tranquility which can exist in spite of superficial disturbances. And then again, he says calm is a strong and positive quietude, firm and solid. Ordinary quietude is mere negation, simply the absence of disturbance. So we see that this calm is so important. And Sri Aurobindo does tell us that to do anything in this yoga, we must establish that calm firmly, positively, solidly. And Mother writes to us in her words, calm is self-possessed strength, quiet and conscious energy, mastery of the impulses, control over the unconscious reflexes. A vexed disturbance in the eternal calm, an impulse and passion of the infinite. We've done the infinite many times, but I would like to just quote a little about what Mother says of the infinite. The infinite, she speaks to a young person here. It is very simple, as you will see. The infinite is the inexhaustible storehouse of forces. The individual is a battery, a storage cell which runs down after use. Consecration is the wire that connects the individual battery to the infinite reserve of forces. Or she gives a second example. The infinite is the river that flows without cease. The individual is the little pond that dries up slowly in the sun. Consecration is the canal that connects the river to the pond and prevents the pond from drying up. So sweet. Now, we'll continue on after that full stop on the infinite. Assuming whatever shape her fancy wills, escaped from the restraint of settled forms, she has left the safety of the tried and known. Well, she is able here to take any shape that her fancy wills, because she's no longer under the restraint of these fixed, settled forms. And she has actually left the safety of the tried and known. Well, it turns out that this is a very interesting area that Aswapati is going through. Any Vedic references for us at all, Vladimir?
This is the life region. So in the life region, everything is being formulated yet, not yet, fixed in the particular form. And because of that quality of that prana level, yes, prana, the life force, the constant correlation in the physical is taking place, and all the unexpected movements can also occur in the world that we do not expect. We judge the world by the outer appearance, by the fixed, and and always refer to our always do the, what do you call it, kind of analyzing what happened in the past and make prediction for the future. So we constantly refer to the past, but the life region can modulate and modify everything. And if the will is coming through, it can just redo everything and undo everything. So in a way, this is an amazing region, how he describes it here, that everything is possible. And that's why he was not satisfied, because nothing is certain there. Everything is flowing and in the flux, as it were.
Yes. But at first we think it's a negative effect, but we see that it is not negative. And we're going to read more about that as it sort of changes for us. unshepherded by the fear that walks through time, undaunted by fate that dogs and chance that springs. She accepts disaster as a common risk. And I will go through those lines before we go into the next page. So we see that she has assumed whatever shape that she wants, what her fancy wills. Escaped from the restraint of settled forms, she has left the safety of the tried and known. So she wants to go into an area that is not known, where things have not been tried, and not even the safety of this tried and known place. So now he says she is unshepherded by the fear that walks through time. Well, if something is unshepherded, it's not watched over carefully. It's not guarded or guided as a shepherd does his sheep. So she is not guarded or guided or watched over carefully by this fear that walks through time. Then he first uses unshepherded and then again undaunted. Wow. Undaunted by fate that dogs and chance that springs. Well, if one is undaunted, one is not discouraged, not dismayed at all. And of course, the fate, we've often spoken about fate and read it in the lexicon. That dogs here follows us, and chance that springs. Chance often springs up on us. We say, we'll take a chance on something, or it just happened by chance. So chance that springs. She accepts disaster as a common risk. And now we'll go on to page 117. Continuing this experience that Ashwapati is having. Careless of suffering, heedless of sin and fall, she wrestles with danger and discovery in the unexplored expanses of the soul. Oh, magnificent lines. Careless of suffering. She doesn't care about suffering. If it comes, it comes. Doesn't matter. She's even heedless of sin and fall. Well, sin in this area, of course, and fall. Then what does she do? She wrestles with danger and discovery. And where? In the unexplored expanses of the soul. And this line, next line that has always been so special to me. To be seemed only experiment. I think it's because of Hamlet and his soliloquy. To be seemed only a long experiment. What? The hazard of a seeking, ignorant force that tries all truths and finding none supreme, moves on unsatisfied, unsure of its end. As saw some inner mind, so life was shaped. From thought to thought she passed, from phase to phase, tortured by her own powers, or proud and blessed. Now master of herself, now toy and slave. Very, very powerful. Huh? Trying all truths, but finding no single truth supreme. Yesterday we were reading in the Essays on the Gita, where Sri Aurobindo says that these shastras, these books, however great, never hold all the truth. And one has to find the truth in different ways. And he especially speaks about the way of the sadhak, sadhika, and guru. So here we have trying all truths and finding none supreme. So she moves on. She's unsatisfied, even unsure of its end here. Then he tells us, as saw some inner mind, so life was shaped. From thought to thought she passed, from phase to phase, tortured by her own powers, or proud and blessed, now master of herself, now toy and slave. So you see these rapid turnings from phase to phase, from thought to thought, and she's even tortured by her own powers, or she's proud and blessed. Again, these opposites, these total opposites. Now master of herself, now toy and slave. So I think we can end there today because we've covered quite a lot. Vladimir, can you share anything further with us?
Well, what thoughts? Maybe some people also have some thoughts on that. How we feel usually in life? Yes, sometimes we feel the master, sometimes we feel the slave and toy of what is happening to us. We are disturbed, or sometimes we feel so proud and happy that we mastered some element of our life, or the situation comes into such a favorable position for us that we are now finally, we got it, what we deserved. All this is coming from this realm.
How very true, how very true. Yes. So seeing this and experiencing this, we can relate it to ourselves as well. We can relate this, shall I say, this search, which is sometimes so shadowy, sometimes so incomplete, that we keep looking for something greater. And we have things that are inconsequent. They lack a proper sequence in time or action. And we're going to get to that next week. A huge inconsequence was her action's law. I'll just read 2 more lines. As if, here we are again, as if all possibility must be drained, and anguish and bliss were pastimes of the heart. Well, here we are. This is the human condition. Anguish and bliss, turning from one to the other, one to the other. And as if all possibility must be drained. Well, Sri Aurobindo tells us that we all have to go through this dark shadow of the night. In Savitri, of course, he has the line, none can enter heaven who has not passed through hell. And many other times he speaks of a child's soul at the gates of hell. And we'll see when we get further into the world stair how Sri Aurobindo has to choose to go down into the darkest pits to bring there the light. So thank you all, and namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, Narad. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.